Hello guys, and welcome back again to my Real Talk video, to my Real Talk series where we talk about everything involving books or something that just crossed my mind that I want to talk about, something that is very common, and yeah, basically just want to have a chill place to talk about things that interest me and something that I think you guys are gonna benefit from, this discussion, hopefully. This time around, I really want to talk about, I just finished reading this book called How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. This is also one of the most prized book that people have to read. It's one of the top 10 books that people need to read in their lifetime because it consists of a lot of valuable lessons, especially when people nowadays are very closed off. They are very introverted and they don't know how to connect with another human being, so this book really helps you how to understand people better, how to understand their emotions, and how to actually bring the best of people instead of putting them down or anything like that. So yeah, without further ado, I'm just gonna talk about some of the chapters in this book and basically what the meat and grit of this book is about how you can persuade someone to do what you want, like to get the best out of everyone that you meet, to get the best out of the conversation that you're about to have and things like that. So yeah, this is a book that sold over 15 million copies. So for more than 80 years, millions of people from Warren Buffett, Oprah Winfrey have benefits from this, the wisdom from Dale Carnegie. People are very drawn to this book because it has a lot of advice that, nothing is an overnight success. Basically, everything was designed, like all the conversations, all the top brass people that are on the higher ups, they really know how to persuade people, just like the best salesman in the world, right? They always have to know how to read people. They really have to know how to read people emotions and things like that. So yeah, and one of the chapter in this book, they talk a lot about Abraham Lincoln in this book, absolutely, because it was during his time, like Dale Carnegie's time. This book also talks a lot about Henry Ford, the automobile, like the founder of Ford Automobile, where how he can be a really charismatic person, like a person of command, because he's very quick at deciding things. And also he's a very stoic man. I don't know if you know about stoic or stoicism. Basically, stoicism is a character, like attributes that makes you susceptible to outside force, basically, right? So you internalize your thoughts, you internalize whatever happens inside of you without any interference for any elements outside of you, like any influence from other people outside of you. So that's the essence of stoicism, the essence of being a stoic person. And by being a stoic person, you can overcome a lot of things, a lot of bullshit that happens in your life, basically, because you have a really strong peace of mind. You have a really strong mindset that you really know who you are, you really know what you like, you really know what you're about, what you don't like, your weaknesses and all that stuff. So a lot of people's opinion don't really get to you, especially the bad ones, because you already know your qualities. And I think that's a really important message that Dale Carnegie wanna say in this book. So a lot of successful people, especially a lot of leaders. This book talks about a lot of leaders, how to be a better leader, how to talk to your subordinates, how to talk to people during war, things like that. So it really is a good read if you want to know about the quality of a leader, how they can be quick and judge in their judgment. They don't take too long to decide on something. They are very decisive. They don't take too long to decide on something. They don't cut corners. They don't put icing on the cake, so they tell all the facts straight to your face. And by that, they're commanding respect from people around them, right? Because they really know what they're talking about, and they are very decisive too. So they don't have a lot of dilemma in their life. They don't have a lot of confusion too. So yeah, I really wanna say one of the thing here is that you have to begin in a friendly way. You know, as a person, you have to be able to be a good friend first, you know, before you do anything else. And try honestly to see things from the other person's point of view, right? So instead of you, say for example, you're in a conversation and the way you extract information from other people is that you don't talk about yourself all the time. Humans have a tendency to be always talking about themselves, and that's something that you have to stop doing. You have to really tone it down and start asking about the other person's, you know, interests, and start to extract information from the other person. And with doing so, you also have to be a great listener. You know, you have to be a great interviewer as well. If you can do that, I guarantee you can have more knowledge than you can possibly imagine, because you stop talking about what you already knew, but you start listening about other people's experience. You start listening from their problems, from their life experience and things like that. So ask the right question is really important. You have to understand what the other person wants to talk about. When you're reaching certain topics in a conversation, you have to understand and you have to really know what the other person wants to talk about, and then ask the right question and make them talk non-stop about themselves or about their experience. That way you can gain a lot of knowledge from that experience, right? There are also 6 ways to make people like you, basically. First one, you have to be welcome anywhere. That's the thing. There's one in this chapter here, and you need to make a good first impression. That's the most important thing in my experience. You know, if I read something like book like this, the first thing they always tell you is to always present yourself in the best possible way. Say your garment, like your outfit, for example, right? I mean, you have to look the best whenever you are. Always present yourself in the best version. You have to really present yourself in the best possible way, because you don't know who you're gonna meet, you know, every single day. You might meet some potential investor, for example. You might meet your future boss, for example, right? So you have to present yourself in the best possible way. And with doing so, you wouldn't lose any opportunity. You won't lose any, you know, a chance to actually get something out of the other person. And also, you need to be a good conversationalist. How do you become a good conversationalist? By practice. I wasn't used to be an extroverted person. I am always an introverted person. I don't really talk much. I tend to stay away from people back in the days, you know, when I was younger. But I learned to be more extroverted. I learned to be need to express myself. I need to learn how to express myself better. And that doesn't come easy for me, because naturally, naturally I'm an introverted person. So it's very hard for me without practice and without constant reminding myself that I have to keep, you know, training myself. Like, I need to do this. I need to express myself better and things like that. So I think that's another skill that you need to master if you want to become, especially if you want to influence people, right? You have to be able to be a good conversationalist and be a good listener first. That's the easiest part, being a good listener. You just need to, you know, close your mouth. Just shut your mouth and listen to what the other person has to say, and don't just skim it, but really listen and really took it to heart, like trying to understand what the other person are talking. Because most people nowadays, they only listen for the sake of replying back, and that's not a good habit. You have to listen and really analyze what they're saying in order for you to get more knowledge out of it, right? And then how you become interesting to people. You need to have hobbies. First of all, you need to live life, right? I mean, because people who doesn't live their life, they probably won't be that interesting to begin with, right? You have to be out there. You need to experience life, go to the wilderness if you have to, so that you have stories to tell, so that you have a really interesting point of view about certain things. I think that's also really important, to be an interesting person. And then if you can do that, then you will, well, they say people are gonna like you instantly. So I have yet to hear that to be true, but then again, yeah, it's this book. So yeah, and then there are 12 ways to win people to your way of thinking, which is pretty long here, so I'm not gonna discuss in details, but I'm gonna read probably the main point here, is that you need to avoid making enemies. One of the chapter here, you need to avoid making enemies. Why? Because I think if you make enemies, then you will have less leverage on your life, because people are gonna start hating you, and people are not gonna see you as a good person and things like that. So you need to avoid it. They talk about the secret of Socrates, and then how to get cooperation, safety valve in handling complaints, and then you need to know what everybody wants. Basically, what everybody wants is to be respected, to be heard, and everybody wants to be important, right? So you need to put importance into someone else's that you're trying to have a conversation with. Make them feel important, make them feel big, and feel like they're the only person in the world that you want to listen to. They also talk about how to criticize, but without being hated for it. So you have to articulate your words in a good way. You really need to, practice your pronunciation, making sure, even though English is not my first language, it's not my mother tongue or like my native language, but I have to practice myself to make the right pronunciation every single time, because without having the right articulation of certain words, how do you expect the other person to respect you, or like to respect what you have to say when you can't even say the right words, or you can't even spell things right? So that's another thing that's very important that you have to really practice. And yeah, so this book has a lot of great lessons. I really recommend you to read this book if you have the chance and you have the time to read it. Beside this book, I also read a couple books that pretty similar. One of them is The Righteous Mind: Why Good People Are Divided by Politics and Religion by Jonathan Haidt. This is also one of the great books if you want to know about how people can be, divided over a trivial thing. And also, there's a psychology behind it. There's a way of thinking, how people can influence other people, and so on and so on. Another book that I also think is very good is Electric Life by Bill G. Williams. There's 12 micro steps to pay attention, be brilliant, and go deep. So this is the book that will teach you how to harness your best self. And it's all about the growth mindsets. It's all about why you need to be passionate about what you're talking about, what you're doing, and how you can use your superhero power to be curious. So that's another thing. Being curious, it's a really big thing if you want to make it in this life, all right? If you want to make it as a people person. So yeah, there you go. So I hope you get benefit from this book, and basically, yeah, start to be the best version of yourself. Start to dress better. first of all, dress better, because if you dress better, people are gonna take you more seriously. It's just the law of human nature. When they see people, you know, I mean, touche, right now I'm wearing a suit, and immediately you will see that I'm being serious by just, you know, putting on a suit. So that's the power of, I wouldn't say judging a book by its cover, but unfortunately, that's the reality of life. People always see the cover first before they buy a book, and if the cover is very enticing, if the cover is very interesting, then people are gonna grab that book first, you know, compared to the other one. So start dressing yourself better. You know, make a good presentation of yourself. Starts to articulate your words better. Start pronouncing. Make a good pronunciations and things like that. So I guarantee you're gonna have a really, really good life, and a really good friends, a really good community around you that people will look up to you and people will respect you for that. Okay. Yeah, thank you again for tuning in, and I hope this talk has been helpful. And yeah, if you wanted me to talk about something else, please let me know. Hit the comment buttons down here, and I will do my best to, you know, follow your requests if you have any. But until then, thank you again, and I hope to see you in the next video. All right, see you.